Hola, my queen bee bakers. So today we're going to be making candy apples. So my apples are already washed and they are dried and they're ready to dip. Now, if you need instructions on how to clean that, I will have that also in the description, or you can watch my old YouTube video on getting those clean. So right here I have 3 cups of sugar, and again, everything will be in the description box or in the comments where whichever platform I put this on. And so this is 3 cups of sugar, granulated sugar. This is a cup of water, and this is a ½ cup of corn syrup right here. And then I have Dr. Shika's vanilla powder. It's like extract. And then I have a teaspoon of oil. Vegetable oil works fine. And then I have my thermometer. These thermometers work best. It will run you about like $13, but it is definitely the best. Okay, so what you want to do first is put your pot on there, and then we're going to gradually increase the heat. Now this is where we're just going to start dumping everything. We have the sugar in the pot, we're going to put the water in there, and then we're going to put our corn syrup, and make sure you get it all in there, okay? You want all of it to go in there. And I just bought this induction burner, so I should have just cleaned it off before I put my pot on there. That's okay. You can see the little bit of smoke in there. And then I'm going to dump the oil in there as well. The great thing about this recipe is that you don't have to mess with it a lot. You literally just got to mix everything in and set it and forget it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of Dr. Shika's vanilla flavoring. You don't need a lot, a little goes a long way. She has many flavors, so you can choose what you want. So the goal is to make sure everything is mixed. You don't want to whisk it together. I mean, the less that you touch it, the better. And I highly, highly recommend a nice old school metal pot. I get mine at Goodwill, but if you have one, definitely use that. Metal pots are just the best, and the older the better. I don't know why, they just work better. So I'm just gonna let that sit. We need to get it to 300 degrees, and I'll continuously check it with my thermometer. And make sure you get a nice rubber spatula that is not gonna burn or stick. You really want those good silicone grade spatulas. And I will be using some coloring. This is more the core red. It's a really great red, but you can use any kind, and you can use any kind of flavoring as well. All right, let's wait for it to heat up. So if this is your first time making candy apples, just wear protective gloves, long sleeves, and just be extra cautious because this mixture is super hot. If you want to also gauge where the mixture is at, you can start putting your thermometer in there just to get a good gauge of where it's at. Right now it's at 125. We got a long way to go. And a slow simmer, you don't want to boil it right away. You really want it should take about 15 to 20 minutes. You don't want a super fast mixture because then it'll get too hard too fast, and so on and so forth. So I have the mixture on 4, so the induction burner is at 4, and right now it's around 215, and it's going to boil like that. You do want that to happen, but you also want to make sure that your pot is bigger than all the stuff that you put in there, because it will boil up like that. And this is where I told you it could get a little messy and sticky, and you're gotta be prepared. So just know that, don't get scared. It's going to bubble up like that, and this is why you use a big pot. Still boiling, we're doing good. It's rising up a little, but don't be scared. It's at a 220. We still got a ways to go. And I'm still not gonna add the color yet because I don't want it to burn during the cooking process, so I add it at the end. You can see that it's starting to clear up. Still some bubbles, but it's clearing up. We're doing good. Okay, now you can see there's hardly any foam, and it's coming together very nicely. The oil starts to dissipate. You can start checking the thermometer. It's still around 220. Remember, we wanna get it at 300, so just be patient, be patient. So I also wanted to say, if you wanted a softer, chewier candy apple, not your classic hard candy apples, you would want to pull it around 275, 280, depending the texture that you want. A quick temperature or candy thermometer tip: you don't want to touch the bottom of the pot or the pan. You want to keep it in the mixture, but you don't want to touch the bottom. You want to just be in level with the mixture, because that's the most accurate read. So we are around 245, and I actually put some of it on the silicone mat. Silicone mat's gonna be your best friend through this process, just FYI. And I let it cool down. So this is more of a taffy. If you see this, can y'all see that? Well, It's just more of a tapping. If that's what you want, go ahead, dip your apples and let them sit. But I don't want a taffy. I want a hard rock candy. So it really just depends. And this is at 245. I mean, you can still achieve the taffy at 250, 260, 275. It just depends on how hard or how you want the texture of the candy mixture to be. All right, now you see the mixture settling. It's getting a little darker, which no biggie. As long as you don't burn it fast right away, you're totally fine. And we are at 260. Nice. So I'm going to add my color right now because we have about, it's getting to 265. So I can add my color now. We still have a little bit of ways to go, but once we get to like 275, it's going to go fast. Now keep in mind, if you want a opaque look, it's going to bubble once you add the color. If you want a more opaque look, you don't have to use a base coat. I'm just using a little bit of the white Chef Master's gel. This is my favorite. This is all I use. And that also gives it a nice deep color to whatever color I'm putting in there, because I don't want it to be clear, glossy. I do want it to be glossy. That's why we put the vegetable oil, but I don't want it to be necessarily a clear apple. So we just mix it a little bit. You don't want to play with it too much. Now I did put 2 drops of white and then about a teaspoon of red. If you want to figure out what the color is going to look like on the apple, all you have to do is put some on your silicone mat, and if it's too clear, then you can add more of the white or more of the red, depending on however you want it to look like. Completely up to you. You're the artist. So we reached 300. So my technique for getting a candy apple perfectly coated is just tipping the pan. My fire is off, or the heat is off. Just tipping the pan. You do want to tap it to get those bubbles out. So I just tap it a little bit and then just give it a couple and the bubbles will dissipate. You gotta be patient. What a cool mixture. And if you get impatient like me, just dip the apple, twirl it, and then we will set it on the silicone mat. Just shake it back and forth. And then we set it. Kind of want to shake it good and then kind of like get the excess off the side like that on the pan, because you don't want a nice messy puddle waiting for you. And then just repeat that. And that's your candy apples. Before I forget, you can also make lollipops with this mixture. Be creative. You can do a lot of stuff with it. So just be super safe and be cautious of what you're doing.